not a crazy hot day.
Are you a sweating guy, though?
No. I don't use deodorant.
No?
Yeah, I don't think I need it. I could be wrong.
I didn't smell you.
All right.
I don't use deodorant. I've never...
I don't understand. Yeah, it doesn't seem like...
Why would you want to smell like that? I mean, it doesn't stop, in antiperspirant doesn't stop sweat. I haven't used it, because I sweat a lot, so there was no stopping it. And then I thought, the deodorant, then you got to smell like that. And it leaves that white stain in your
well, I never
shirt.
see those pit stains I have. I mean, in heat waves, I have it on my chest now.
Right. What do you think that is? Old?
I think old, and yeah.
But you're always going to get it. You don't get it in your armpits, you only get it on your chest?
No, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't seem like... I don't feel like I smell after I shower. Don't people put deodorant on after they shower?
I don't know. I use a little patchouli oil sometimes just to smell better.
I don't know anything about lotions or anything. I just wash.
But you look so young. You don't look like you've changed.
I have. I used to be a stick figure. I used to be 130 pounds.
That's right.
So when I compare, and I think because I was really, really skinny, so now I filled out, so... That's helped. I guess.
Do you don't exercise?
I walk to the Grove a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just walk a lot. Yeah. I don't do anything. Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember when I first met you.
That was that Jerry Rubin thing. Was that?
What? That was so weird, man. I can't. In my recollection. By the way, Fred Stoller is here. We're talking.
Good.
He was nervous when he got here.
Yeah.
What was it?
Oh, I have anxiety about a lot of things because I don't know this area and I'm trusting the GPS. And, even though I know rationally the GPS understands how to get here, you just sort of like to know where you're going. It's sort of this blind trust.
It's like cooking. You got to picture the
product.
Dish.
And sometimes they're wrong and sometimes the sound goes off. And like I said, rationally, I know this doesn't have to start at noon, like the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
But it still is... I now I'm very rational when I know I'm being irrational. And also I've been listening to a lot and it's entertaining and I want the chance to talk about crazy stuff and I sent you this, I feel like such a schmuck sending you this DVD. Please watch it. Oh, I don't want to be that guy. When I used to do stand up, not one person ever came because I did a radio show and I've done this movie thing and I talk and no one cares. So I'd rather be entertaining.
Somebody sent me a link to the song you made about the podcast.
Well, this is, you seem, I was intimidated by you, to be honest, at first.
From the old days? Or just recently?
With this thing, because this whole podcast world, right?
Yeah.
Some of them is snooty and I don't want to name a few, but I will.
Okay.
And there's this thing, well, you could be on my thing, but I don't think you could carry the whole show. And, all right, there's this guy.
Yeah.
He works in the Apple Store. All right, I'm giving him away. And when I used to...
He's a podcaster that works in the Apple Store.
Yeah, and I used to come in there, and it was a novelty. Fred Stoller, I'm a comedy nerd, and he'd help me and stuff.
Yeah.
But then I'm so retarded, I know nothing, and to all the cool Apple guys, I'm this pest. Like, how does this work? So
you're the guy that not only do you walk to the Grove, but you do it frequently, so there's a lot of businesses that know you.
Yeah, I'm like the mayor of the Grove. I bumped into Norm Macdonald, and the trolley goes by, and I'm waving to it, shaking hands with kiosk guys. He said I'm from one of those Turner Classic movies, like,
like
getting
from the
apples.
30s or 40s?
Yeah, where
like the musicals? Yeah.
Yes, the trolley goes by.
How are you, Mr. Stoller?
Yeah, and the sunglass guy knows me, and it's like... I stopped doing comedy, and that was my social life, just going to a club. I couldn't do it anymore. And for years before the Grove...
How long?
Well, I think 93-ish, I stopped going to clubs.
Why do I feel like I've seen you do... You've done a few things.
Well, I kind of lie. Like, I've done Dr. Katz.
93?
Well, that's when that's when I started getting like, I can't do it anymore.
Why couldn't you do it anymore?
I don't know. I people go, don't you miss it? And I feel like I'm deceiving you being on this because
you're not doing. It's a pleasure to see you. I always liked you. Last time I saw you, we did a voiceover for a thing that probably won't happen, but it was funny. First of all, the first time we met, it was a very weird situation.
Right.
We had a common friend in this publicist who I was dating at the time, Stacy Nelson, and somehow or another, she got him. Yeah, we hooked up. It was you, me, Ratso Sloman,
Yeah.
who was a writer, ghostwriter for Howard Stern's
I want to go on my
biography.
rant about him, but when you have to. So.
But and then somehow or another, we're going to this event to see
in
Jerry.
Westwood, I think.
It was to see Jerry Rubin, the '60s radical,
right?
And I was like, "This sounds interesting. I want to meet Jerry Rubin, the '60s radical." And Sloman didn't. No one gave us much information, and we get to this event that's basically some
Tupperware.
It was a pyramid scheme of vitamin people, and I don't know how Jerry was involved.
He was part of it, trying to make money from it, right?
Right. It was this couple that had vitamin products.
Right.
Or health products. And there's Jerry Rubin, one of the original yippies, introducing this couple that then they're hawking vitamins. It was one of the most tragic things that I'd seen.
Next to him getting hit by a car and getting killed.
This was more tragic. To me, the selling the vitamins, the voice of sort of like, amplified, clown-like 60s radicalism.
Right.
Like they really took, street theater and radicalism to this new place. With Abby Hoffman and Krasner and a few other people. And there he was in this weird rented space at night hosting an event where they served shitty health food and they were hawking vitamins, and he was the spokesperson or something for this. And I'm like, this is the death of all idealism. It's not even like he became a capitalist. He became this pathetic huckster for this bullshit. And no one was even there. It was fucking, in my mind, this is fucking Jerry Rubin. And me and you and Ratso and Stacy are sitting there like, I don't even think we hung out that long.
It was, how long ago was that? Like, a long time.
It must have been like 92, 91. But see, weren't you were still doing comedy
I was
then?
still doing stand-up. I did it. I'm never one of these guys. I bump into this guy. I'm a comedian because I want to be a philosopher. And I used to love getting the light, like you could get off.
Oh, you mean like I'm done?
I couldn't wait for the light.
But where'd you start? New
I
York?
started in New York at first the Improv briefly, then Catch and the Strip.
The original Improv?
Yeah.
So how old are you?
I'm 53.
Okay.
So a lot of the Facebook crushes have just gone away.
But you were great. But you're a little older than me. I'm 47, so you were already out of New York by the time I got there in '89. So you were
I
there.
came to L.A. in '88.
Right. So you were there. The original Improv was sort
I
of
used to hang out with Gilbert Gottfried and some other guy. He's so annoying. I don't want to even give him the publicity or the acknowledgement because he calls me up and he's annoying. You ever have these people just seeing their name on Facebook annoys you?
Yeah.
And he's annoying.
Uh-huh.
And in the original Improv, actually Chris Albrecht used to run it, who became this HBO
He was the head
guy.
of HBO, and now he's at Stars. He was a big deal. He changed the face of HBO. He was the guy. He was a door guy. Right?
Yeah.
But this is towards the end of the original Improv because I got there in '89, and it was sort of in its last throes. Silver was running it. She had had it for a long time, but it was the original play.
Yeah, when Silva came, I left, and when I don't think I liked being there. And then the Strip and Cash, and comedy was sort of like my adolescence, because I didn't really go to college and I was still a virgin. And
how old? 19? He started comedy?
I had a false start at 17, but then I came back when I was 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was a virgin till 21. And I remember I confessed to a woman on Facebook, a waitress, that I lied about my virginity. Because I'm socially retarded, and I didn't know how you bring a woman home and you put your arm and how do you have sex. So I used to it would take me an hour to say, ask her, are we going to have sex? Because I needed the guarantee that we'd go there and there'd be sex. I didn't know what you're supposed to do.
To get there.
Yeah, so I just had to get the guarantee there'd be sex.
Verbal commitment.
Yeah, but it would take me an hour to muster up the thing. So there was this one waitress, she was considering it, and she goes, the fact you're a virgin's attractive. Maybe let me think about it. Then a few months later, she goes, let's go to my place. And by then, I already had done it twice with other people.
How did they go the first couple times?
Oh, it was just, it's people. I wasn't a virgin till 21 because it was a nice thing. It was just I couldn't get anyone. So it wasn't magic. I had to get it over with. And the first one was nothing to brag about. Not as you could see, I'm a guy that brags. Yeah. And I was just doing things I thought you're supposed to do in movies, and taking the train home to my mother's house where I still lived. I go, I guess I did it. So nothing.
You live with your mother?
I lived with my mother till 22. And then I lived in Sheepshead Bay all the way at the end of Brooklyn. I would live off cab fare. That was the first thing it was a big deal at the Improv when you got promoted. You can get cab fare. before they paid you. And
Yeah.
I would just eat a free meal and get a piece of pizza and just take trains.
But what drove you to comedy in the first place? I mean, did you ever go to Pips?
Yeah. Actually, I was pathologically shy. Nothing funny at all about me, which I'm proving now.
That's not true. Now, you grew up in Sheepshead Bay,
Yeah,
and your mother, and what did your father do?
My father, he
Jewish, right? Very Jewish.
Yeah. I'm very Jewish. Except, you know something? I didn't even know till I did comedy that Jews were a minority. It was all the menorahs, and they hated our family because we weren't good Jews. I didn't go to temple, and my friend's father, I'm going to wish you a happy shechacha, even though you're practicing to be a goyim. It was all us against them. The Schwitzes, the Schwarzes, the goyim, the Shebekis.
Yeah.
So I never liked that whole us against them thing.
The Jewy Jews.
Yeah. So I think I wanted to be a character. I didn't know what I wanted to be. So I would see people like Jimmy Walker, and he was like really skinny, and I would, or Herb Edelman, these character actors, go, wow, that's someone like me.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how you become that. And then I went to Pips with my older sister.
Yeah.
We actually saw Richard Lewis and Billy Crystal before they were famous. And I remember Billy Crystal was doing a bit about season Nick tickets and his kids. I go, wow, he's not famous, but he could support himself. And this is before the comedy boom.
Yeah.
Then I heard stories, Freddie Prinze did his act at the Improv, then he got on the Tonight Show, then he got a sitcom. So I go, that's how you do it.
Well, what was your family's thoughts on it? Because you're in high school, right?
I was first, I think, at Kingsborough Community College. Or graduating high school. But then, the thing is, it was almost like I was gay, but we don't talk about it. Because my mother, and I'm not saying this to be fun, this is in 78. And comedy wasn't where it is now, where every cab driver, it's college courses.
Yeah.
It's more absurd that someone in LA doesn't do stand up in some way. You know what I mean? In some kind of, every second on Facebook, see my comedy show. I didn't know you were a comedian, so it was really, my mother just knew, Jackie Vernon, and I
love Jackie Vernon.
Yeah, that's all she knew.
That was the first comic I ever saw on television that resonated with me, was Jackie Vernon on a TV show doing that slideshow.
The first one that resonated with me, and I'm stealing from him, is Buddy Hackett, because he told on the Tonight Show he lost his virginity at 23, and I go, wow, a guy on TV admitting that. But it's Buddy Hackett. So now I'm so proud. This is my Buddy Hackett moment. I'm helping people out there that haven't lost their virginity.
Yeah, sure.
They're going to go, that schmuck Fred Stoller. Look how he ended up. But
I loved Buddy Hackett too.
Yeah. So that's what my mother knew. So then I was very, very, very depressed, which is hard to believe. Which is one reason. Which is one reason why I will never kill myself, because it won't be a shock. Like Richard Jenny, a shock.
Yeah.
But with the Fred, we see that coming. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I've thought of suicide. I like your bit that it's relaxing, but too many people will go, well, that's Fred. So that keeps me not killing myself.
That keeps you alive, that you don't want to be predictable?
Yes. That it's like, well, you know what I mean? Yeah, like, all right, when was this going to happen already?
But you seem like, lately when I've run into you, you seem okay. I mean, were you morosely depressed as a young man?
And you know something? I used to have this fantasy that I'd wake up and my life was a bad dream. I was a good-looking kid, and not skinny, in Long Island. My parents were nurturing, so my growing up was a nightmare. And I heard if there was a nuclear attack, they'd hit the Empire State Building first. I used to walk around looking at it, picturing the thing coming. So I guess no. I remember this Happy Days episode where the aliens came down.
Yeah.
And they said, we'll take, I think, Richie to our planet, but you could never go back to Earth.
Yeah.
I go, man, give me that. I used to think. So I was very depressed. So when I quit college to be a comedian, when I passed auditions, my mother, and I could see why she didn't get it. I was very, very, very shy, but I wasn't a funny guy.
Where did you audition? At the Improv, at Catch?
Yeah, I never did that thing, do Chili's and the Triple In. I just do the Improv. And I started at 17 and couldn't do it. And then came back when I was 20. And
you couldn't do it because you couldn't handle it?
I couldn't handle the rejection. I couldn't handle the train ride. I just couldn't.
I can't imagine how nuts you made yourself.
Well, the thing is, I remember that being so shy,
Yeah.
And people still don't get, how could you be a comedian and so you're shy?
But I experience that too. I know the same feeling. You feel socially awkward, and then you go do that. It's some way to transcend it.
Well, but first of all, I thought of them as a clump. People one-on-one is, you know what I'm saying? They're just a clump. People one-on-one.
It's more complicated.
And also, I had my head down, and I didn't look at them, and I did nooses with the thing. And if I saw someone in the audience, if I knew someone I knew was there, I couldn't do it. I'm not one of these guys, bring Ricky and all my friends.
No, I
hey!
used to hate that too.
And I hated when I did Caroline's, because every fucking relative.
The original one on 9th?
I did that, but when I headlined, I did the
Seaport?
Seaport, and every relative, every person I didn't want, everyone from school, and I, it's advertised, so
so they feel like they're entitled to come. I used to tell people not to come.
Yes,
like you don't have to come.
Yeah, my parents, Pips, one time they peeked in through the window, and just seeing these schmucks, like seeing, does he really do it? But my mother freaked out. Not only did I quit college. You're smart. You know about history, but she was telling me
not really
that the people that they take to war are the ones that don't go to college, and I was going to get killed. But there was no war in '78. But I think China invaded Vietnam or something and said, now you're going to get killed. That's who goes to the war. So
that's what she said to you?
Yes.
You said, I'm going to be a comic. She goes, you're going to die in the war.
Yes. And I said, there's not a war. She goes, no, Vietnam got taken over or something with China. I don't know. So basically, this is true. I'm not saying this. Jokes from my act were things she said verbatim because she couldn't understand the concept of being a comedian.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, it's more common than, working in a bookstore.
Yeah.
And
you can do both.
Yeah, it is the same. Yeah, those borders. So she goes, I'm not going to tell people you're a comic. I'm going to say you're retarded. I swear. And I put in my act, and it's true, because it was easier to just say there's something wrong with Freddie. And so my father would sometimes drive me to the train station, and when I would try to audition, and he wouldn't even say good luck. My father really didn't talk. I think he probably had Asperger's because he was an artist, and we didn't know what it was.
What kind of artist?
He designed displays like Revlon and things, but he would just sit in the garage and make trains and not talk. And
your mother talked.
Yeah, Morris, talk something. I'm the bad one. Morris, say something with company. And I'm like him because he would pretend he was reading to withdraw. Like he'd look at, I'm not saying this to be funny, a matchbook cover or and I do that with my iPhone. They go, you're a tech guy? I go, no, it's just easy to see if I got an email or see if I got a Twitter friend.
Or to not talk to you who's trying to talk to me.
No, I'm not.
I mean, in general.
No, I'm just, in general, it's easy just to, I don't know what I did before Twitter, say iPhones. I'd either go in the party, look at the books, or go to the cat.
Go to the cat.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
It's, so I did it before the comedy boom. The first job was Pips and this Garvin's that I think Larry David originally booked, then Rich Scheidner booked. So in New York, I was spoiled in that I could make a living doing New Jersey, Long Island, Connecticut, and just having to do 20 minutes, and it wasn't so painful. But it never felt right, and then I'd have to go on then I moved to LA.
But it never felt right. I mean, it didn't start feeling right to me till 2 years ago.
I guess it never felt natural. I'm never one of these guys, those guys that get the light, I'm fucking killing.
Yeah. No, I haven't either, but still, the discomfort of it, maybe we didn't get into it for, who knows why we got into it. Because if you're that uncomfortable, and you actually stopped in 93, I was, pretending to not be uncomfortable for most of my career.
I went through this phase.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's all right.
I said, why don't I love it? Am I a sore loser? Am I lazy? And it took me years to accept my heart fell out of it. I still, write, I'm doing a web series.
But you were always terrified, right?
Yeah, no, I just meant the whole going into a club,
fighting the fight,
hanging out with comics that are just doing the same joke. In LA, to get say something, you got to kill. To kill, you got to do the same jokes, and you got to walk around with the notebook. How do I recreate that joke? Why did it work? Why didn't it work? It's. I remember when Tom Hanks was researching Punchline.
Yeah,
he put together a fairly decent act.
Right.
He did it. He did the movie, and then he put it away. So it's this over and over. I remember Bobcat was saying he's going to write movies because when you do, do jokes that goes in the air, but this is a script. I wrote it, even if no one does it. This is the thing.
Yeah, it's done.
So I think the repetition, the hanging out,
But you got breaks, right? I mean, you did all right. You did the Tonight Show with Johnny, right?
Yeah, I did some HBO stuff. Yeah, I never did one of those half-hour things, but
no, but you did Tonight Show with Johnny.
I did. You could make a living for a while in the early 90s doing Evening at the Improv,
Late
Rosie
80s,
O'Donnell,
right.
Caroline's, Comic Strip Live. And I think that messed me up because they'd have these people I didn't.
But what was your first break?
What do you can? I've had
the
people.
Tonight Show?
No, that was very anticlimactic. I did it with some yodelers and no guest. I did Letterman the day the space shuttle blew up, so no one watched it.
When did you do? You did Carson though?
I did Carson.
With yodelers?
There were yodelers, and it was like towards the end. It was Doc Severinsen playing a song, and it was weird because I did my act and I didn't meet Johnny. It's like,
did you do well?
I guess by then I had done 1 million of those Evening at the Improv shows, and people would say, I saw you on the Tonight Show. I go, I've never been on it. Yes, you are. I go, okay. So it's at that point where there was no difference almost.
It still isn't really to some people.
I mean, there's the exceptions, Ray on Letterman and Drew Carey broke on Carson, but it became, yes. So I wouldn't say people go, what was your break? You mean in acting or in?
No, but I mean, as a stand-up, when you knew, like, all right, so I'm doing something that, I've succeeded. This is this shows that I am good at this. Not necessarily financial break, but I mean, the reward, there had to be, I was around for those shows. I did all those shows too. What was Rosie's called? It was out here in Pasadena, right?
Stand Up
Spotlight.
Yeah.
Right, out in Pasadena at the Ice House. And then the Caroline's Comedy Hour, they shot those
Rich
at the
Jenny,
Southport.
all
right,
those.
but then they shot at the new one. They did both. Right, I don't know if Rich Jenny, I don't remember who hosted the first one. Jake Johansson,
MTV had one with Mario Joyner.
Right, and then there was also the one that, the A-List. That Richard hosted.
What people called A-List.
Yeah.
Sandra, I'm on A-List because it was everybody.
Well,
yeah.
Right. Sandra did it, and then Richard did the last season of it.
Jenny did that one too?
No, Richard Lewis.
Lewis.
Jenny did Caroline's.
Right.
And then the Evening at the Improv was hosted by whoever was in town that
week. There was one I did when I was...
John Biner hosted Comedy on the Road.
Yes. Oh, and all of them, I was doing the same jokes because they had these guys that justify their jobs. Freddie, I want to see a tape, and that I always do the same voice, and see your jokes. So they'd always say, do this joke, do the ones that killed the other time on Comic Strip Live. So I'm doing the same jokes, and out of my insecurity, I always had to do some surefire ones in the beginning to get them going.
That's just called being a comic.
Yeah, so I really was very repetitive, and I was hating, because I did all these stupid cable little 3-minute shows.
All right, but then you start, but what was your big goal? Was it, so if it wasn't to be a headliner, it was just what, to get TV work? Or you didn't know?
As a comic or in general?
In general, and as a comic.
I think I never had I never had the goal to do Carnegie Hall or have albums or be
No,
never to be Bill Cosby. And
well, why were you doing comedy?
I think, like I said, I knew the real world wasn't for me. I knew there'd be no job I could do, and then I'd see character actors like schmucky guys. I go, I'm like them. And like I said, then
the guy who walks on and he's weird.
Well, I remember, like in Dog Day Afternoon, there was one guy in the beginning that chickens out.
Yeah.
I go, that's who I could be. I'd sit up on my seat, and I was seeing a therapist. He goes, don't you think you should have bigger goals? And maybe he's right, because I guess I got that. Like I always go, who's that guy? I hope he comes back in the movie. I never saw myself being Clint Eastwood or a macho guy
So you knew your limitations.
And I think I'm paying the price. Some like Paul Sand. Do you know who he is?
Mm-mm.
He was in the Hot Rock. He was a character actor that, again, isn't doing anything because that was who I aspired to be. Or Donald Sutherland in The Dirty Dozen.
Yeah.
And I met him, and he's an asshole, so don't meet your idols.
Really? Where'd you meet him?
I was an extra in this movie, Heaven Help Us.
Yeah.
Do you remember it? With
Kinda.
Catholic school. It
Yeah.
became Catholic Boys. And there were like 400 extras. And the AD was treating us like shit. Hey, guys, if you're good, I won't take your drugs away. So he goes, any comedians? He was looking to kill time. And one guy went up, and I said, I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
And I got up, and I killed because I was sort of a professional comedian. And Donald Sutherland goes, get off. Anyone could do jokes, doing religious jokes, because it was Passover, and I was talking about being Jewish and working in Catholic Boys. And because he was trying to be funny, And then I'd see him throughout the set, and he wouldn't look me in the eye, and he pushed me off. And then the AD brought me up again. He goes, no. So,
Oh, really?
And because of that, I hate Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, you hate the whole Sutherland clan.
I hate them all.
Yeah.
You know, he was an ass.
So, okay, so then you did, we did Dr. Katz. We were on the same Dr. Katz, were we?
I think we were.
I feel like we were.
Not in the same room, but this is funny.
No, I did 2 of them, and I think you and I are on one.
I bumped into this guy at a supermarket. I won't say his name because I'm kind of putting him down, but he goes, hey, I saw you on Dr. Katz. I go, yeah. He goes, they're going to use me. I got a gimmick. I got glasses. No one's been on Dr. Katz that wears glasses. Then you crushed his dreams. You know, he had it all worked out. He's calling them up going.
Did you see him afterwards and he said that I wrote it? Or you're just
that bastard Marc Maron.
With his glasses.
You know, so
I've never got that one before.
You know, I know someone else, and she was doing Dr. Katz, and she was calling them up going, what do you have me wearing? And she goes, they had me look fat. And it would be funny because people would recognize me, go, I saw you on Dr. Katz. And I go, do they recognize me as the squiggly guy? But
you have a very distinctive voice.
Right, it was the voice. But answering your question, it was just an accumulation of once in a while people go, hey, I've seen you on something. So I never had one thing where that was it.
But you've done a lot of television work.
I'm not bitter, or I'm just saying in general.
Right.
You get to a point. I just listened to Steve Martin's book on tape.
Yeah. Did he read it?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, that's great.
It took me a while to get through Gilbert's because he's and
Are you still friends with him?
I don't think so. I mean, in this business, to find friend like you. Hey, you know,
you got guys. Everybody loves you.
Oh, thank you. No, I'm not saying.
But I mean, who are your comic friends?
You know, this is weird. When you mean friends, meaning, well, I have.
Who do you talk to, Fred? I mean, Rakowski was in in the movie.
Yes. You know, I
hadn't seen him in so long since I saw him in your movie. I used to love him.
Yeah, my friends became the guys like me that couldn't go near comedy clubs and
Bill Rakowski.
Yeah, this guy George Calva, who's funny, but probably no one's heard of him.
Yeah.
You know, Kelly Rogers sometimes, and I just walk around the Grove a lot aimlessly and bump into people, but hanging out, you know.
This Grove thing is kind of interesting to me because I used to do that when I was younger and I lived on the Lower East Side and I was doing the comedy thing and I was walking around with a notebook. I used to make these rounds almost every day. You know, I go to the bookstore, I say hi to the guy, I go to the guitar store, I say hi to that guy, I play guitar, I go to the place where I got coffee. It's comforting.
Well, yeah, but I was saying when I stopped hanging out at clubs before the Grove, I would either go hang out. I had a trifecta. I'd go to Tower Records, Video, and Book Soup and listen to sample music till midnight and then go home. It made me feel I was interacting, listening to sample music. Then I would go to 3rd Street Promenade, which is 10 miles away, and just to walk among people. Jonathan Katz said something. He goes, where do you hang out? I said, I walk up and down the 3rd Street Promenade hoping to bump into someone. He goes, what, do you walk around blindfolded? And so it's almost like a bookstore. It's because in L.A. you don't have a neighborhood feel. So now the Grove, you know, I there's a table in the morning. They told me to mention it where it's Paul Mazursky and
oh yeah, I've
Ronnie
heard about
Schell.
that. Who told you to mention that?
The guy at the table this morning. Mention us. And meanwhile, it's this. To be honest, I go there at the tail end.
Who else is there? Mazursky,
George Siegel. Sometimes this younger guy, Greg Pritikin, who doesn't invite me to other things. I feel left out.
And how often you do that?
Well, this is the thing. I never got into coffee, but to give me a routine, I got addicted to lattes. Because if you sit by yourself at the Grove, you're a mental patient. If you just sit with your head down, but if I drink a latte, I'm a regular guy.
Yeah.
So this thing gives me a routine. I get a fruit salad. I sit. This guy Ronnie Schell, sometimes Alan Havey goes there, and I get there at the tail end.
Sounds like 2 tables. How many people?
Sometimes.
Like 20
There's some
people?
guys I don't like this one guy's like a reviewer, and this kind of, then they get mad. Why'd you invite so-and-so to the table? He ruined it. They have this thing. They make it such a big deal.
It's a
like,
big schwitz.
yeah,
what do you call it?
guy,
Spritzing?
If some guy...
Spritzing, kibitzing.
Some guy didn't get laughs. They kick each other.
Oh, really? So they're sitting around doing bits and like riffing off of things? And
they're doing bits, and some people hold court, or it's such an honor to be at the table. If they bring one guy that's not good, they get mad and yell at him the next day.
So,
but that's sort of, and then I walk around Barnes and Noble, I bump into people. It's TMZ. Sometimes my only interactions is the TMZ camera guys, which I'm not going to let them tape me anymore.
They tape you?
Yeah, they do it. First, it was this thing. Who is this? They're making fun of me that I'm an unknown. I didn't ask to be on TMZ because they're at the Grove. They stand at the movie theater and wait for people to come in. So sometimes one guy goes, "Hey, Fred, to show I'm working on the holiday, I'm going to tape you," saying he knows I'm going to get rejected.
Right.
But just to prove
that he's on top.
There.
Yeah.
So they at first they would have me once in a while. They're all the TMZ smartasses. Who's this schmuck? And so I've been on it a few times, and they always groan or not this loser again. And I'm not going to do it again because.
You mean in the room on the show?
Yeah, all the snarky comedian or whatever they are, like, who's Fred Stoller? Oh, and then Harvey groaned the last time. Oh, him. I'm not saying I'm a celebrity, put me on TMZ, so now I'm not going to say anything.
So they just, because they're bored, they tape you, and then it makes it onto the thing?
Many times it doesn't. Like I said, one time there's a new TMZ guy, and the other guy goes, no, he's here every day. Don't do it. Harvey gets mad. So, or sometimes if I say something like Kathy Griffin's an asshole, they like it, or Ray Romano makes a lot of money. Oh, we got a scoop. What's that weird guy Fred? So. So
you have a concern about becoming a character?
Well, I don't need this unsolicited rejection. Like I walk by, they go, "Oh, Fred, they got mad. There's a mandate. No more of you. You're not a celebrity." Or if
bullies.
Yeah. I call it red carpet comedy, like best week ever. I hate that stuff. It's like, oh, this guy's a loser. And
do you have people at these places? So you go hang out at the table sometimes if you're feeling up to it.
Yeah.
And then you go to the bookstore. Yeah. And then but you have people you say hi to.
I like the best week camera guys. I talk to them a lot.
Yeah.
I like them. I don't like that when they put me on, they all go, "This asshole again." Yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't ask for that.
I didn't say I'm a celebrity. Put me on TMZ.
But basically, you're a New York guy. You're a guy that's sort of isolated. You're socially awkward. So you go out
and I always say I could deal with people in 3-minute increments. That's what's great about the Grove. A lot of people I wouldn't call up. Yeah.
But it makes you feel connected.
Yes.
As opposed to sitting at home in your house.
Yeah.
Going nuts.
And people go, "Why are you here every day?" Why the hell not? I get out, I see things.
Why did you stop doing comedy in 1993? I mean, was it a conscious decision? You just couldn't cut it anymore? Was the depression so bad?
It was gradual, where I was getting these severe TMJ headaches, blinding. I just hated my act didn't really work for 45 minutes to an hour. They'd switch me with the middle, or I'd be on some radio show and that I'm supposed to be getting people, and I think I like the Steve Martin book. He quit because he wanted to interact and not be so isolated. But I'm like Steve Martin, except I'm not Steve Martin and didn't have the amazing success to put it aside. In a perfect world, I'd have other creative successes and go, I did stand up. I took it as far as I could take it. Unless you're like you or Dave Attell or Dom Herrera, one of these guys that really does it and loves it and goes from show to show,
I just started doing that, though, because I'm more like you than I am like those guys.
Really?
Yeah, because for years I didn't, I was not a successful comedian. And, it's arguable now.
I remember when I was doing stand-up when Robin Williams was doing Moscow on the Hudson. And I remember he's doing a movie, and then he'd come in at night and do sets all night. I go, wow, if I was in a movie, I'd be just trying to get to sleep and be excited. So I think all my dreams...
No, I get that too, though.
All my dreams were just... when I do sitcoms... I hate studio audiences. I don't need the roar of the fake crowd, because that's what it is. I don't need But
I think we did. The reason I relate to you is I think that we did stand up so we wouldn't be invisible.
Yes. And for my ego, I like when someone goes, "Hey, I've seen you. You're funny."
Sure.
Or just on Facebook, on Twitter, I like if a joke's retweeted, and so I like. But I don't like hanging out in the clubs doing an act for an hour. It doesn't feel natural to me.
I don't mind doing that because I've gotten better over the years. But I think that, just so you know, for me, for years, because I did so many other things and I did radio for a little while, I never had a draw on the road. I'd go on the road. I'd have that same, I'd never get switched with the middle, but I wouldn't draw people. And then I'd hate that feeling. I was never that comfortable when I was younger going into radio shows and this expectation that would seem so unnatural. But what happened to me, mean, in a similar way that happened to you, is I stopped giving a shit, but I didn't want to stop doing it. When I started doing the podcast, I had nothing. I couldn't get work. I couldn't get nothing.
Get out of here.
Yeah, no.
Did you do stand-up spotlight?
No, I did all the shows. I did Conan all the time. I did, half-hour specials.
Yeah.
But that was years ago, and it wasn't really a comedy showcase. And I liked the comedy I did, but you don't know what clicks or why anything clicks. But in the sensitivity area, I was the same as you. I was completely self-conscious. I never felt like I did what was necessary to kill. When I was younger, I would do it because I was angry and more focused. But as I got older and more sensitive, it was, became like, but I can't do it. I know I can, I've done it.
See, I always say you can't dabble.
No, I never dabbled. I'm
saying that's why I had to stop. You got to be the guy that wants to. I tried doing it.
It's what I do.
And I wanted to do other stuff.
Okay.
And then 10 years ago, I did it again to see if I missed it. And I'm at the Ice House, and I like comics, but not in a room. We're in a green room, and they're sitting around talking. I know Provenza's show, but that's
Did you
different.
do that?
No.
Why?
I wasn't asked, and maybe if he does another season, who knows? But I that's different. That's the green room.
The thing I don't understand is how we are a clan, a community of socially awkward people, one way or the other. You get people who can't shut up. You get people with bravado, but there's also a lot of socially awkward guys amongst us.
I'm not aggressive. I think a lot of
but you must have been embraced. I mean,
but I'm saying a lot of comics like you, Dennis Leary, if you have social flaws, you overcompensate and you're very confident. Like Alan Havey, yeah, babe, yeah. I never learned overcompensation, and I don't really.
But you weren't rejected by the comic community. You just decided you didn't want to be there.
Well, I was rejected for HBO specials.
No, but I mean by us, by comics, right?
No,
right.
No. But I'm saying it. I always wanted to get off stage. I never understood why guys like Kindler do the bookstores, and I think I was spoiled. In New York, I did the comedy boom, and you can make a living, like I said. Then you come out here, and you either work for free at a bookstore, or you have to go on the road Tuesday through Sunday. So I didn't have that love of it where I wanted to do it for free after making a living.
Did your parents ever support you ever?
My mother, when I would do a TV show, my sister said she would hide in the other room where she couldn't look. And what if he doesn't do good? So I think my father was proud, but he like I said, I think he's like Rain Man-ish. He could never say.
Are they still alive?
My father passed away.
Sorry.
And my mother, thank you. She's only proud if someone else validated it. I guess you're good. Someone said they saw you on The Nanny. So if someone, you know what I'm saying? It's just, she still, and I did all my jokes about her, so she never liked it. But, I mean.
That's their biggest fear and also their biggest joy.
Well, let me ask you about you.
Yeah.
Now, do you, before the podcast, did you have something you go, I could be doing this instead of stand-up? Is that why maybe you kept in the trenches?
Well, no, they sort of faded away, and I always loved comedy, and I always wanted, I blamed myself. I didn't really blame the business that much. Ultimately, I thought, maybe I'm not, finishing my jokes right. Maybe I'm not, putting enough focus on them. Maybe they're too esoteric or too thinky. And then, when I started doing this, I didn't have anything else, and I no longer could give a shit anymore. I couldn't hang my hopes on other people making decisions about me. And I had no idea what this was going to do. But now when I go out and do stand up, I really have no fear at all.
That's
great. And I have a few people coming out to see me. I don't fill theaters, but I have enough support to feel very comfortable.
Well,
and even if I don't, I've got skills. I mean, I've been doing this all my life, and I never stopped doing it. And I always did it every week.
Well, maybe if I got to a point where people came to see me and I didn't have to, have this, something was at stake. Like, I think I had the delusion that maybe I could be a character actor. Like, I remember arguing with a girlfriend, don't you see I could maybe be like Jeff Goldblum? Not on what? I don't know. And so I was going, please reassure me I could be like Jeff Goldblum. So I think I had the delusion and stuff. I could be, Steve Buscemi kind of guy. Yeah. So I think, and then I started getting little guest star parts. So that helped me wean away from it.
Yeah.
The fact, all right, this is my next chapter. And it's funny, what happened with guest stars is I got into a false comfort zone like stand-up. With stand-up, I was in a false comfort zone where I go, oh, I'm on stage, people see I'm being funny, that'll lead to something else. It didn't. Then I started doing delivery guy parts and going, the network people see I'm being funny, it led to more delivery guy parts.
Yeah.
So I remember towards the end, I loved filling up spaces on the calendar, but I hated the work. I loved the feeling of Washington and filling the calendar, and I used to fill it up and then hope something came up and I could get out of it. Did you ever do that?
Yes.
Like, I don't want to do I couldn't say no, and I really didn't want to do the job, and I was praying I could make something up to get out of it a week before.
I have more in common with you
than you would think.
Well, no, I
thought you were like a David Tell guy. David Tell on his birthday has to do 17 sets, and Louis C.K. What could you believe this guy writes his own shows and does every show about 5 minutes of great stand-up? How does he do both?
Well, he's just, he's in a groove and he loves it, and he's a real worker.
Oh, yeah.
When you have the innate fear or sensitivity around rejection,
yes.
and that sort of guides your life more than, the joy of transcending it, everything becomes dread. You're filled with dread all the time.
I'll tell you something funny, Mark, being an old guy. But when I first started doing stand-up, and when I was in a groove, and the comedy people go, that must be the hardest thing in the world. How do you do it? I go, what are you talking about, the hardest thing in the world? And it wasn't, because it was the comedy boom. You effortlessly got jobs. All you had to do to get work was pick up the phone. Rick Messina, they'd call comics. If you had a car, comics got work because they can drive to Jersey.
Yeah.
So, and the hard part was initially getting your act, but once you had the comfort of these jokes will get me going, I didn't understand. Now I understand it's the fucking hardest thing until I got older. It's more the hanging out, the repetition, everyone eventually.
And also that moment on stage sometimes where you realize you're not getting over, and that, and then all you have is what you have. And if that isn't getting over, then it's a very horrendous, humiliating, lonely place up there.
I was very low key and subtle, and I remember I do my big saver closer, which was just maybe a good joke. I didn't have and in the middle,
music.
And it bombed.
Yeah.
Or did you ever have this where you're killing, but then you do your one new joke and it bombs and you're miserable?
Yeah, I mean, like the style I work in, I wasn't really constricted by jokes, and I improvise an awful lot. So, it's become different, but I understand everything you're saying, that the dread overtook everything.
Absolutely.
So like the relief of even doing a good set was not enough to sort of comfort you through the chronic dread.
Oh, I was going to say, when I tried coming back, seeing if I missed it, I thought, even if, let's say, I get laughs, I still have an agenda. Okay, I'm funny. Maybe I could do a special. I still have the result orientation of, so what? I get laughs. What does this lead to? Like, I feel good doing this. I feel good hanging out with friends and getting laughs in a conversation. I don't feel I need to get up there.
Well, you don't feel, it's not your job right now.
Yeah, and for my ego.
You don't want it as a job.
No, exactly. It became a job, especially because I got spoiled in the comedy boom.
Right. So this movie that I watched, Fred and Vinny, I thought was heavy. It made my heart heavy, but I understood it.
It's about isolation.
It's about isolation, and you say it's based on a true story?
Yeah, I knew this guy, Vinny, who was agoraphobic, but he was the happiest agoraphobic, and he lived vicariously through me, so everything I did was an adventure, going to the video store.
Did he live in another town?
He lived in the Philly area.
So that's all true in the movie?
Yes.
And you would talk on the phone?
And he was the adoring parent I never had. And I'd call him up, and he just loved every syllable, every story.
It's so funny because, like, the thing that was really interesting about the movie, and I guess in about your real life, is that you have this relationship with this guy Vinny over the phone. He's living vicariously through you, but the way you described your life, no one would say, "Wow, that is an adventure."
I know. Everything I did, because my mother's the opposite, where everything is shameful. I remember when she wouldn't want to see my first apartment, but she needed the bathroom because she didn't want to see how I lived, and I had to lead her, like she didn't want to look.
She closed her eyes and you walked her to the bathroom?
To the bathroom. I swear. Yeah. So everything was shameful. With Vinny, it's, man, oh my God. Oh, they did a cartoon of you? I'm screaming, man. I'm screaming. Oh my God. And your cat went in the sink and lied there? Everything.
How'd you meet that guy?
Actually, I know it's another contradiction. He tried comedy in the 80s and just did it in the Philly area, then quit. And we became fast friends. And then he became this non-functional guy, sort of living in an attic for free and living with people for free. And he was, great until he came out to stay with me.
So you lived here in L.A. and you kept in touch with him over the phone?
All the time.
And then you asked him to move in with you?
No. He said, hey, man, I may want to try being an extra. I may want to try doing what you do. He said that he would stay with me and alternate with other comics who said they'd put him up. And
Some other guys knew him?
Yeah. So I thought, man, Vinny in L.A., and I thought it'd be so great to show him where all these things happened. Turned out he got evicted where he's staying for free, and he had nowhere else to put him up.
That was what was behind his move?
Yeah. And then I didn't get to show him my amazing life. He just lied on my floor and sulked. So
how long did that go on for?
A few months.
Yeah.
That's the movie. Yeah, what happened. It's like a love story. Can't wait to him to come out, and then, yeah, it's just a disappointment.
Yeah, and then what happened?
I'm hoping someone will see this movie.
But what happened in the real relationship?
Real relationship, which I'm giving the movie away, but that's okay, is, no. He came out, there was no end in sight.
He drove you crazy.
Yeah, and I had no money at the time to get rid of him, and I felt guilty, because it's not black and white. It's not like Tom Arnold, Jim Belushi guy burping and spitting on the floor. He was trying, but yeah, I know this makes sound compelling, but we were estranged for many years because I hated myself for being so needy. I needed this pathetic guy's validation and wondering if it deceived me. So it was an estrangement and an arc and all the stuff.
But did what happened in the movie really happen at the end? I'm not going to say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's a very thoughtful and very you know, I can appreciate movies like this in the way that, like, I understand it. I'm a comic. I know people like that. I have those feelings.
Right.
And but it's difficult, because we are socially awkward guys and we do live a life that no one else lives.
I could never see you socially awkward. You'll go from one chick to another. You're the slick guy that's smart on stage. It's funny.
Right. Well, but underneath that, like, I had to, it took me a long time to be comfortable with myself. Whatever, I manufactured to deal, just turned out to be a little better than yours. Mine was.
Everyone's is better than mine.
But it's a very touching movie. So, what happened? How was it available, by the way?
That's the thing. I feel like I'm a comic, like going on these radio shows in Texas, and no one sees it. It's right now just at festivals, and it drove me crazy. I had to go on Facebook and Twitter, and that's trying to get people. So we're just hoping
something happens.
Something happens.
Now, Steve Scrovan,
and I've been giving it out.
Who directed it, and how was
Steve Scrovan?
He directed it and wrote it.
No, I wrote it.
Because Scrovan is
he did The Unreasonable Man.
Right, but he was a comic, but he's had a tremendous career in television, right?
Yeah, what happened was he had the bug to do another movie because sorry, now I'm not burping for food, but just
you're nervous.
No, acid and stuff.
Okay.
I never.
Did you eat breakfast?
Not really, just a fruit salad at the table.
You were at the table this morning?
Briefly.
Who was there?
Ronnie Shell, do you know who he is?
No.
He always brags he did 60 Goma piles.
Gotta go to this table.
Cartoonist, Charlie Brown. Oh, they'd love you. This guy, Greg Pritikin, who's like the youngest guy there. He's like 40.
Yeah.
And he acts like a Echo Park hipster, but he's an old Jew.
Was Mazursky there?
Not today.
He must be pretty old. Yeah?
Yeah. And a lot of them are talking about their ailments, which unfortunately I all have.
That happens to everyone.
Everyone has stuff. So basically,
you cross a line and it's all about that.
What the hell was I just talking about?
You're talking about Scrovan, and you just went to the table.
I wrote. Actually, I did a sit and spin. I did a story, and he encouraged me to write a story about my friendship with Vinny. He goes, "We should do this as a movie." He was supposed to write it with me, but he got so busy with his sitcom stuff. So I took the liberty and wrote it, and then it took us a while to figure out how to make the movie because we're not in that world. And we're not in the world. Steve Scrovan's the greatest guy in the world, but he's more passive than me. I keep saying, put it on your Facebook page. So that's why I'm tired of pushing it. I had to make up postcards and pay for DVDs. I'm handing them out in the street. And then I went to Newport to a festival and I'm trying to get people to come, and only friends come I pay for. So
did your mother see it?
No. She doesn't know how to put a DVD in, and my father died, so I'm not saying that to be funny. She wouldn't. I don't know if I want her to see it yet, because she'd go, Freddie, do you really live like that? And because it's Freddie, because I always make up when I'm on the phone to get off the phone with her that I'm meeting some friend for lunch to make, because she always, you're always alone. I go, no, I'm meeting my friend John, and then she says to my sister, Fred only has one friend, John. So I'm always making up. I got to go. I'm at a big table. Well, I do a table a little bit in the morning, but so I think it's very real, the movie. So
yeah. Does she worry about you? I mean, I can't decide whether she's constantly beating the shit out of you emotionally, or she's worried about you.
I think yes and no. I think maybe a lot of middle-aged people get this. Your parents worry, but then they get to a point where they go, all right, this is what it is. You know, like when I got a cat, she goes, why'd you get a cat, not a girlfriend? And I got a second cat. So I think she goes, get a giraffe for all I care, you know? So she looks like I gave up. So she would worry. She worried I played a gay guy on Suddenly Susan, and she didn't like that. So, but I think it's at a point where it's...
Did she see on Ray?
Yeah.
And she liked that?
She liked that.
Oh, good.
She, plus I did it, I was on a show, Handy Manny, and it was a doll of my character, and you press it and I talk, and she liked it. But she goes, how come it doesn't talk every time you press it? Because sometimes it makes this other gurgling sound. So it's like, I think she's proud because sometimes someone comes in to fix something.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, he knew you. Like there's
Yeah.
a picture of me.
Yeah.
So I think people have to remind her to be proud.
Yeah. And that was your whole life with that.
I understand why people would be shocked I'm a comedian, because like Bill and George, they played them. Well, one George Calford, the other guy played Bill Rakowski.
Yeah.
They played this straight married couple, and for like 16, 17 years, Bill Rakowski and George Calford they're straight, but they were roommates.
Yeah.
And Bill says everyone thought we were gay. I think we were gay.
Oh, they were a gay married couple in the movie, you mean?
They were straight, but people think they're gay.
Oh.
But people like this one girl, she works as a waitress. She goes, I see you walking by all the time. What's wrong? They just, yeah. Sarah Silverman said, you're always the guy walking. Whenever I'm driving, there's Fred walking. So you're a mental patient if you walk.
No, it's in L.A. Yeah, that's
Yes.
true. What's wrong with that guy?
Yeah,
what happened
they
to that
see
guy?
there's that weird middle-aged guy walking, swinging his arms, and...
So what happened with this other podcast? Because I think,
Oh, yes. Oh, I never finished the story.
Oh, the guy at the Apple store. So you're the guy that goes in. Everyone knows you at the Grove. Here comes Weird Fred Stoller. At the first, he was like, I love you.
Dude, I'm a
you're
comedy geek.
Yeah.
And then now he's a sidekick on a show, and it's this snarky sense of humor, like pop references, and
Yeah.
like, oh, this guy is a loser. And he's like, and he's this big guy, and he's got this hot girlfriend, because I don't like that nerd means cool now. When
Yeah.
I was a kid, nerd, misfit, now it's like, dude, I'm a nerd. I'm going to Comic-Con, meaning I'm into cool stuff everyone else is into.
Yeah, a big shift in the culture there.
Yeah,
huh?
and the podcast is called Nerdist. Now, I've seen Chris Hardwick. He's a nice guy. He's talented and charming, but is he a nerd? No.
You know, you're preaching to the choir here, buddy.
You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, we're nerds. No, you're into cool robots, and yeah, so it annoys me. So yeah, I did a song about it. You'll play it?
Yeah.
You know, it's so yeah, it's just weird how I was scared you would get mad, go, I don't know, like on my Twitter, people go, do Marc Maron show. And that's how they sound on Twitter, I think.
You're reading the tone?
Yeah. I'm afraid, Yeah, unsolicited rejection. I'd probably love Nerdist if I was on it. It's like it's all this stuff like people, yeah, unsolicited, with the festivals, you get unsolicited rejection because people go, we were at Slam Dance, so we've done legitimate stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a real movie.
I think it's pretty real. But then festivals will hear, wow, man, you were at Slam Dance. Please send us the movie. We'd love to consider you. So then you send the screeners, and they send you this form letter. Due to over 5,000 submissions, the film is we have passed on your movie, but please keep trying. I didn't ask for Florida or Germany or Newark or anything. And that's my favorite thing in the business, unsolicited rejection.
Well, I tell you, the way the world is set up now, there's no shortage of unsolicited rejection. I got some this morning. Got an email from some hater, and and depending on what day it is, I'll either engage or I won't. So I go look at my phone right now to see if he, I sent him a letter calling him a fucking insecure bully. Yeah, see, then he wrote back, and it's going to be worse.
But did you ever get someone offering you something and then go, years ago, when I cared about who my agent was, I signed with a new agent. I thought he was going to be good, right?
Yeah.
So this guy from Gersh says, Freddie, give us your tape. We'd be great for you. We're really good. I go, well, I like this new agent. He goes, Freddie, this is Gersh. Come on.
Yeah.
I went, all right. So then I give him my tape, and he calls me. He goes, Fred, we decided to pass. I didn't ask. He was begging to reject me.
Yeah. The thing is that fucking the heat, the emotional heat of rejection is that is the fight. I have to assume, like, now, if I'm thinking about it honestly right now, that moment where you feel that rejection and that horrible erasing sort of, diminishing, pain of that, that's what we fight against when we do comedy.
And I love they say, don't take it personally. And
as soon as you engage with some of these guys, like, a lot of times they're like, fuck you, you're a cunt, and then you then I write back, like, did it feel good to say that? Do you feel better about yourself for doing that to me?
I've had with my movie, I get unsolicited advice where it's locked. Steve Scroven has no more money to fix. And then my neighbor, people go, let me look at it. I will give you my notes, my idiot neighbor. I go, it's locked. He goes, it is never locked. And they tell you what's wrong with it. Like, I see the acting in Angelo. Like, they're giving you advice for something that's done, which you didn't ask for.
Yeah.
But
it's like some people have a tougher skin, and it has to do with what we require emotionally. And it seems that, you and I, on some level, were either sort of abandoned by our parents, and so you get this, you kind of need this kind of reassurance all the time.
Like, some stuff I don't take personally, like auditions. I know when I go in, they're looking for a poker buddy. Dude, rule number 3 with chicks, I'm Donald Logue type.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go on it, but I know not to take it personally because you know what they're looking for.
Yeah, after a certain point, you're like, I'm not going to be that guy.
Yeah.
I do that too.
Yeah, I know, not to take it personally, but the movie is very personal.
Yeah.
Or I tried writing a book, and literary agents rejected. It was very personal. It was about being the perennial TV guest star guy.
Yeah.
And when it's very personal,
you
take it personally when it's a personal art thing.
Well, I will tell you right now with confidence that people love you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate Bob Saget, Fred Willett, Sarah Silverman, and maybe Harry Mandel, because they did a favor for me on a web series I'm going to do.
Oh, and
for Adam.com.
Oh, good.
Great people.
Good.
It's just 4 little 5-minute episodes, and hopefully there'll be more. So these guys, that's why I'm trying to be a mensch. Like, I want to pay it forward. Like, these guys, not friends where we hang out, but how Bob Saget got back to me right away on an email. Then go, how'd you get my email? He didn't do that. And
well, what's it going to take for you to know that people do appreciate you?
Oh,
I
do.
No,
I do. No, I know that. I'm not saying I don't know.
But what's it going to take for you to not beat yourself up before you do these things?
I'm just saying I feel appreciated, but stand-up is a hard animal. The thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to go at the Laugh Factory, guys on the, who just
I understand.
watch,
Yeah.
who, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe in a perfect world, if I got like you, where people want to see you.
There's a few. Let's not go crazy.
You know what I'm saying? But just
about a third of the audience that comes.
But aren't there people that like being funny, but they don't have to do the stand-up thing, like Albert Brooks? Can I be that guy, but without the success?
Yeah, you can. And you might be already.
Yeah, I mean, you know what my dream was, and maybe I could be it. Before he became nuts, Andy Dick. When he was on news radio, he's got a job.
Yeah.
Then he tells a story on a panel. That's what I'd like to be, but it didn't happen. I just played delivery guys and clerks, but where you get to express yourself, but not in a stand-up venue.
Sure. Yeah,
that's
like
what
now.
I'd like to do.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you're very good at it.
Thank you so much, and you're great. I've been listening to your podcast, and there's one. Tell me if I made this mistake.
Okay.
And I know you want to wrap up. I got the look.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't want to make the mistake because listening to you, like when Colin Quinn had what's it called, Tough Crowd.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of comics I knew that were very nice guys. And they'd go on it, and they thought they had to be more Nick DiPaolo-ish, like, the blacks, screw them, man, blacks have all the good stuff.
Yeah.
And I know this sweet guy, I won't say his name, and they were trying to, you know what I'm saying, be more to be more on the show and be part of it. Mm-hmm. So I hope after listening to things, I wasn't like, fuck you, and I masturbated, because, you know what I'm saying? Cause
I heard nothing about masturbation or hating blacks. Just unless
no, that's Colin's show.
I know, but unless you had a different conversation in your head than what happened just now.
Right. You know what I'm saying? No, I felt the pressure before coming here that you had to, be, gritty and saying everyone you hate.
No.
Except for, Nerdist.
That's well, he's
a nice guy, but you get it. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I have.
Don't hijack nerd.
No, I have the exact same feelings you do about that.
Cool stuff is what this is. Because I'm watching robots and sci-fi and
what is a real nerd watch? What does Fred Stoller watch?
You know, so also I didn't know if you like Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah,
because they had camaraderie, they had buddies, they were like, and they were smart. All right, we're beat up, but we're going to grow up to be rich scientists.
Yeah,
I never had the reassurance that I was an outcast, but at least I'll show them and be rich.
Right.
You know, I showed them that I could drink all the lattes I want, but, you know, but you know what I mean. I think that Freaks and Geeks, but I'm saying I don't even, at least they had each other.
Well, there's something different. Like, I think that the way you're using nerd, like, I think nerd in the sense now, it implies.
It's cool.
Well, no, but it implies an almost.
In pop culture.
An obsessive, sort of fascination with specific things. Like if someone's a chess nerd or a Dungeons and Dragon nerd, that is really the heart.
There's no stigma or shame in the word now. It's like cool. Hey, I'm just a nerd, man. I'm watching my Scrabble.
But I think you and I were awkward. We were socially awkward, and that we might have been geeky, but I don't know. It doesn't sound like you were a nerd. I definitely wasn't.
No, I guess you're right. A nerd means like a Rain Man kind of.
You have an obsessive thing with something.
Right, you're right. It's not like Revenge of the Nerds. I think I was just, I was related to black people. I was obsessed with obscure black character actors, invisible people.
Really?
Yes. Like Moses Gunn, Thalmus Rassalusala, Harper Hill. No, not Harper Hill. There was another Hill. Lou Gossett before he's famous, Teddy Wilson. Because that's why I wanted to be a character actor, like these invisible people, and rooted for black people. And
because you identified with
the invisibility, yes, and the. Yes, it wasn't not the now it became rap in your face, Tracy Morgan, but I like the quiet, just my mother has that where she can't go into a restaurant if there's a black busboy, she feels sorry for him, or he's a security guard, so I have a little bit of that. I feel I want to save everyone and give security guards good jobs.
Well, I think that's it. Maybe you should make that
my goal.